Here's the deal they cut with extremists. As long as you don't do anything against us, you can do anything you want anywhere in the world. Conduct all the terrorism you want. Attack Americans, blow up a train in Spain, do whatever you want. Just don't do it here. If you do it in our country, we'll cut your head off. If you do it somewhere else, that's not our business. That's the deal these dictators cut with extremists.
There are some people who are not going to be very happy about this at all, like one of them being Sindoor. He's rolling over in his sheets right now. He's not happy.
I say to the whole world, India will identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backer. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth.
Who is happy? Well, Jaishankar's pretty happy. I think Shashi Tharoor's very happy in the Indian delegation with Operation Sindoor. And I think Modi is just extremely excited about what Marco Rubio and the Department of Defense has just done with the TRF. Sindoor's baby. That was Sindoor's baby. You don't touch his baby, but you know what? They just did.
Everyone who believes in humanity is with us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you today on the speaknsee Show. Please like, subscribe, and click that notification button so when we get information out, you can get information in. Today, we confront a sobering truth. Even high-profile diplomatic engagements like those hosted by former President Donald Trump, they offer no immunity from the consequences of terrorism. The United States and India stand united together, believe it or not, as resolute allies in the fight against terror. Yet recent events remind us that meeting with the world leaders doesn't erase the risks being posed by bad actors. We'll examine two cases here. Trump's meeting with Syria's interim president, Ahmad al-Sharaa, now who's hiding, and his secretive lunch with Pakistani's army, Sindoor, who should be on notice after the U.S. just designated the TRF as terrorist organization. These examples underscore a critical reality. You're only as safe as your most recent actions. So let's start here with Syria. On May 14th, 2025, President Trump met Ahmad al-Sharaa in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, marking the first U.S.-Syrian presidential meeting in 25 years.
You know, I mean, the current leader of Syria, al-Sharaa, was previously al-Qaeda and a bunch of other flavors of jihadist. So just because he trimmed his beard and traded his terrorist jammies for a suit doesn't mean he's changed his ways.
Trump announced the lifting of U.S. sanctions in Syria, calling it a chance at greatness.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness. So I say good luck, Syria. Show us something very special like they've done, frankly, in Saudi Arabia. Okay, they're going to show us something special.
And even praised al-Sharaa as a real leader with tremendous opportunity to rebuild. He urged al-Sharaa to join the Abraham Accords, expel foreign terrorists, and counter ISIS. And al-Sharaa, get this, he was once known as Abu Muhammad al-Julani, led the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the HTS, a group with al-Qaeda roots, and he carried a $10 million U.S. bounty on his head until December 2024. And despite HTS's listing as a terrorist organization in July 2025, al-Sharaa's past and Syria's volatility had big red flags around it the whole time. Everybody knew that. The diplomatic endorsements don't erase history of jihadist ties. And Israel, who everybody knows is a key U.S. ally, continues airstrikes on Syrian targets it deems threats. And they're unconvinced by al-Sharaa's rebranding as a pragmatic leader. And he's shown some very serious and conclusive proof as to why that seems to be the case. And reports suggest that he struggled to control foreign fighters and jihadist factions within Syria's new military, defying U.S. demands to expel them. Here, remember that. He's defying U.S. demands to expel the terrorists. The U.S. and India, who both consider terrorism a great threat, understand this as well. A suit and a handshake do not erase the risk of bad actors. Al-Sharaa's retreat into hiding shows that even Trump's approval, however significant, offers no shield when your actions or past catch up with you. Now let's turn to Pakistan and Sindoor. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but that's how I say it. Sindoor, the country's army chief who met Trump for an unprecedented closed door no cameras allowed lunch at the White House on June 18th of 2025. Notably, Trump barred all cameras from getting a photograph with him at this meeting. A stark contrast to the publicized fanfare of the other diplomatic engagements that we saw. You see, this secrecy suggests caution, perhaps an acknowledgement of the risks tied to Pakistan's military leadership. In the lunch, the first time a U.S. president hosted a Pakistani military chief, Trump hailed him as extremely influential, which is true.
And in fact, I had the general, who was very impressive. The general from Pakistan was in my office last week. Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? They said, no, I want to do the trade deal. We stopped it.
And Munir, who recently was promoted to field marshal, was celebrated in Pakistan for strengthening U.S. ties, with Trump declaring, I love Pakistan, and touting potential trade deals. But let's cut through the rhetoric now. This camera-free meeting doesn't absolve Pakistan's troubling ties to terrorism, nor does it guarantee Munir's safety from scrutiny. On July 17th, 2025, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the designation of the Resistance Front, the TRF, as a foreign terrorist organization, an FTO, and specifically designated global terrorist, an SDGT. The TRF, a proxy of the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, the LET, claimed responsibility for the April 22nd, 2025 Pahalgam attack in Indian-administered Kashmir, which killed 26 civilians. It was the deadliest attack on Indian civilians since LET's 2008 Mumbai massacre that claimed over 160 lives. Now, this designation coming shortly after the meeting, and think about the timing of all this. This designation right now is coming shortly after that meeting with Rubio and India's External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, and signals the power of U.S.-India counterterrorism cooperation. See, Jaishankar's advocacy, backed by India's dossier linking TRF to LET, likely played a pivotal role in pushing the U.S. to act decisively. India has long accused Pakistan of supporting militant groups like TRF and LET, which orchestrate attacks on Indian soil.
Today, from the soil of Bihar,
And the Pahalgam attack, targeting a popular tourist destination, was a brutal reminder of this threat. And India's Operation Sindoor, huge.
I say to the whole world, India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers.
It was huge and it's not going away, and it was launched on May 7th, 2025, targeted 9 terrorist sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, sparking the 4-day conflict. And while Trump claimed credit for brokering the ceasefire, India's Prime Minister Modi firmly rejected mediation, insisting the ceasefire was bilateral. And I think we can all agree with that. But Modi's stance is unequivocal. Terrorism is war itself, and India will not tolerate Pakistan's support for groups like TRF. The TRF designation, it is a huge diplomatic victory for India and a warning, a big warning to Pakistan. Jaishankar and Congress leader Shashi Tharoor provided critical evidence of TRF's ties to LET, reinforcing India's push for accountability. The U.S. move isolates Pakistan further, especially as China, Pakistan's ally, has blocked the UN sanctions on TRF, placing a technical hold despite India's dossier to the UN Security Council. And China's call for regional counterterrorism cooperation today, July 18th, 2025, it rings hollow when it shields groups like the TRF. With the U.S. and India aligned, China might be forced to reconsider its stance just to avoid losing face, which leaves Pakistan in a very vulnerable position right now. Munir should take a note. His camera-free lunch with Trump, however historic, offers no protection from the consequences of Pakistan's ties to terrorism. The TRF's designation likely spurred by Jaishankar's recent meeting with Rubio, signals that the U.S. prioritizes its partnership with India, a rising power countering China's influence in Asia. Pakistan's military, under Munir's command, has been criticized for harboring groups like LET, and Munir's assurances of de-escalation mean little when TRF and LET proxy operates from Pakistani soil. And as one ex-post noted, Munir's transactional relationship with the U.S. comes at a cost, one that he might not be able to afford if Pakistan fails to act against this terrorism. What does this mean for the U.S. and India? Al-Shara's fall from grace and Munir's precarious position highlight that diplomacy must be backed by accountability. The U.S. under Trump took bold steps to engage Syria and Pakistan. That was very bold. But the TRF designation, catalyzed by the United States and India collaboration, shows a commitment to justice. India's leadership from Modi and Jaishankar has made it clear terrorism is non-negotiable. The U.S.-India partnership, forged through shared losses like 9/11 and Mumbai 2008, stands as a bulwark against terror. Now, al-Shara's hiding and Munir's vulnerability prove that no diplomatic meeting, whether photographed or not, erases the consequences of enabling terrorism. The U.S. and India demand action. Dismantle terror networks, expel foreign fighters, and hold bad actors accountable. Rubio's designation of TRF, likely influenced by Jaishankar's diplomacy, shows the Trump administration is listening. For Munir, that message is clear. You're only as safe as your most recent actions. So now Pakistan has a choice to make. Stand with India and the U.S. and the world against terror, or face isolation. For America and India, the path forward is united, resolute, and unyielding in the face of terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so grateful to have each and every one of you watching today. Please like and subscribe and click that notification button so when we get information out, you can get information in. God is good, and we will see you on the next one. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.